My backpacking journey had taken me to an offbeat destination, a small town tucked away in the heart of Eastern Europe. Eager to immerse myself in the local culture, I decided to stay at a local hostel renowned for its rustic charm. As I arrived at the hostel, I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. The narrow cobblestone streets were empty, devoid of any signs of life. A sense of unease settled over me, but I attributed it to the unfamiliar surroundings. The hostel itself was an old, dilapidated building with faded paint and a creaky wooden staircase. The owner, an elderly woman with weathered skin and piercing blue eyes, greeted me with a toothless smile. I paid for my stay and followed her up the stairs to my room. The room was modest but clean, with 2 worn-out beds and a cracked window that overlooked the desolate street below. I unpacked my belongings and settled in, ready to explore the town. Night fell and I returned to the hostel, my mind brimming with stories and experiences from the day. As I climbed into bed, an unnerving sensation washed over me. The room felt heavy, as if a dark secret was buried within its walls. I tried to ignore the feeling and drifted into a fitful sleep. Hours later, I awoke to a strange scratching noise. My eyes shot open, searching for the source. A pale light seeped through the cracked window, casting eerie shadows on the walls. A flicker of movement caught my attention. I froze as I watched a figure emerge from the shadows, a gaunt, disheveled man. He moved with a peculiar stiffness, his eyes vacant and glassy. I held my breath, unsure if he was aware of my presence. He shuffled towards my bed, his movements slow and deliberate. Panic surged through my veins, urging me to escape, but fear rooted me to the spot. He reached out a trembling hand, inching closer to my face. His touch was cold and clammy, sending a shiver down my spine. I closed my eyes, praying for the nightmare to end. Seconds turned into minutes, and when I finally mustered the courage to open my eyes, the man was gone. I stumbled out of bed and ran to the door, throwing it open to find the hallway empty and silent. The next morning, I approached the elderly woman at the front desk and asked about the strange man. Her eyes widened with fear, and she whispered a chilling tale of a ghostly figure that haunted the hostel, seeking solace from a forgotten past. Terrified, I cut my stay short, bidding farewell to the desolate hostel and the mysteries it held. The encounter left me questioning the thin veil that separates the living from the dead, and the haunting presence that lingers in forgotten places. Nestled deep within the dense forests of northern Canada, I embarked on a backpacking trip that promised a communion with nature in its rawest form. Armed with a map and a compass, I set out to explore the uncharted territories that few had ventured into. The first few days were enchanting. Majestic trees towered overhead, their leaves rustling with a mysterious whisper. Wildlife thrived in abundance, and I felt like a small speck in the vast expanse of the wilderness. On the 4th day, however, a sense of unease began to creep over me. The forest seemed to grow denser, suffocating me with its oppressive silence. The vibrant colors faded, replaced by a haunting grayness that hung in the air. As night fell, I pitched my tent in a small clearing, hoping to find solace within its fabric walls. The crackling fire provided some comfort, its warmth warding off the encroaching darkness. But as the hours passed, an unnatural stillness settled over the woods. The faint sound of footsteps reached my ears, distant yet unmistakable. Panic gripped me as I realized I was not alone. Shadows danced on the edges of my vision as if watching, waiting. Fear consumed me, but I had to know who or what was out there. I grabbed my flashlight and ventured into the night, my heart pounding in my chest. Each step felt like a betrayal, breaking the silence that had enveloped the forest. I followed the sound of the footsteps, my flashlight illuminating the path ahead. The darkness seemed impenetrable, as if the forest itself conspired to keep its secrets hidden. But determination fueled my steps, pushing me deeper into the unknown. Suddenly the sound ceased. I stopped, my breath caught in my throat. The forest stood still, its ancient trees towering ominously around me. And then a whisper carried on the wind, a voice so faint I could barely make out the words. "Turn back," it pleaded, a haunting plea that echoed through the woods. "Leave this place or become lost forever." But I pressed on, desperate to unravel the mystery that gripped the forest. Minutes turned into hours as I ventured deeper, the trees closing in on me like a suffocating embrace. Suddenly, a blinding light burst through the darkness, blurring my vision. I shielded my eyes, stumbling back in shock. When the light dissipated, I found myself standing at the edge of a cliff, a precipice overlooking an abyss. The ground beneath me trembled, and the forest groaned in protest. I scrambled back, terror coursing through my veins. The forest had shown me its true nature, a merciless entity that lured unsuspecting travelers to their doom. I turned and ran, desperate to escape the clutches of the unforgiving woods. The journey back was a blur of fear and adrenaline, my survival instincts propelling me forward. When I finally emerged from the forest, gasping for breath, I vowed never to return. The experience had forever etched itself into my memory, a chilling reminder of the power and darkness that lies within the heart of nature. A backpacking adventure led me to a remote corner of the world, a secluded lake nestled within a forgotten valley. The lake's beauty was mesmerizing, a tranquil oasis surrounded by towering mountains and dense forests. Little did I know, however, that this idyllic paradise held a dark secret. As I set up camp by the lake, a feeling of serenity washed over me. The water shimmered under the golden rays of the setting sun, casting a spell of tranquility upon the land. But as night fell, a strange mist began to rise from the surface of the lake, distorting the peaceful scene. Curiosity piqued. I approached the lake's edge, the mist swirling around me. It felt cool against my skin, carrying whispers that spoke of forgotten sorrows and ancient curses. A chill ran down my spine, but I dismissed it as a figment of my imagination. As I settled into my sleeping bag, the night grew restless. The air was heavy with an otherworldly energy, and strange sounds echoed through the valley. The calls of nocturnal creatures turned into eerie wails, causing unease to settle in the pit of my stomach. Then, I heard it, the sound of someone sobbing. I bolted upright, scanning the area for the source of the cries. Across the lake, a figure materialized, a woman dressed in a tattered white gown, her face contorted with grief. I called out to her, but she ignored me, her mournful cries growing louder. Without thinking, I waded into the lake, determined to reach her. The water was icy, the tendrils of mist wrapping around my legs as if trying to pull me under. As I drew closer, the woman's cries turned into desperate pleas. She warned me to leave, her voice filled with anguish. But something compelled me to stay, to unravel the mysteries that plagued the cursed lake. Suddenly, the water beneath me churned, pulling me into its depths. Panic washed over me as I fought against the invisible force, struggling to reach the surface. With a burst of strength, I broke free and gasped for air, only to find the lake calm once more. I stumbled back to shore, gasping for breath and shivering from the cold. The woman had vanished, leaving behind an air of sorrow that hung heavy in the night. At first light, I packed my belongings and fled from the cursed lake, my mind haunted by the ghostly apparition. The experience left me with a newfound respect for the unknown forces that lurk beneath the surface, hidden in the depths of a seemingly serene landscape.